All right. Welcome everybody. It's about 5 minutes past the hour. We're going to get started here. My name is Shay Henderson. I am working with the YOLO Community Network in a coordination role alongside our very amazing advisory and so many network members, including many of you. Um, so I'm going to pass the microphone off to Wendy and her crew with the big audience there on one of the screens, which is great to see so many faces on that one screen in a few minutes. I do want to just share a quick little blurb about the YOLO community and their website, just in case those joining us today haven't had a chance to explore it yet. So a lot of the work that we try to do is around connecting folks who are doing the good work of connecting up youth to their local lands and territories across northern remote communities, indigenous communities all across the nation. And so it's really beautiful work. And if you haven't had a chance yet, I might share my screen. I'm sorry if this impacts your screen here, Wendy. But if you haven't had a chance to check out the YOLO community website, youthontheland.ca. Really easy to find. And if you follow our newsletter, you'll see lots of links to get there. And I'm going to draw your attention to our program map, which you'll be able to read more about Bushkids after this presentation today if you so choose to. But our program map is a really good way to get a glimpse at the growing nature of this network and some of the folks that have opened up their doors to share about their good work and all that they're doing in their different locales. Um, Obviously, there's a whole lot more, but I wanted to draw everyone's attention towards this as we are really hoping as this network strengthens and grows, that more and more people open up those doors to share their knowledge, their experience, their skill with others who are looking to do similar work, looking to grow similar work. So, thank you all for joining today. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I will say it one more time because I've said it a few. If you just joined after I said it, is share where you're coming from in the chat. And then as uh, our presenters go through their presentation today, feel free to drop questions into the chat as well. And then we'll have some time for conversation towards the end of their presentation. So without further ado, I've stopped sharing and now your screen is back on here. So Wendy, pass it to
Oh,
you.
okay, thanks. Hi, everybody. Komodo hoizi. Danate, good morning. We just want to acknowledge where we are first, and then we'll do some short introductions and get going. So it's minus 36 here, 37 maybe. Um, we're in Yellowknife, also called Samba Cay. This is Treaty 8. This is home of Yellowknife's Dene First Nation, North Slave Métis, also home to Acacho peoples, also home to many different nations that call this place home and have traveled through here for generations and millennia, just following the caribou, really. Um, We're so thrilled. It's quite a privilege to be here with you today. We are all a little bit nervous. Um, we thought we could just do some short introductions and we could say our name. What do we got? Name, where we're from, and maybe what the name of our school is. Does that sound good? Okay. So my name is Wendy, si Wendy Siye. Burlington, Ontario, Gotson Arte. So I'm from Burlington, Ontario, and I moved here 21 years ago. And I've been working at Bush Kids for I think 7 years now.
Hi, Gomodo Josi. My name is Betsy Lucko. I am the Dowadaje facilitator at Welladay Catholic School. And I've been in Yellowknife for about 15 years and taught at the same school for those 15 years. And these are two of my students up here. Do you want to go?
My name is Jebby and I'm from Mexico and I go to Welladay Catholic School. My name is Scott. I'm from Yellowknife and I go to Welladay Catholic School.
Must be. Good job, you guys.
My name is Honey Rain Catholic, also known as Chantha Gatale, which means like pouring rain or a lot of rain, rabbit blood. I am from Futsalke, and I just started working at Bush Kids in August. Um, I graduated from the early learning and childcare program, which led me to where I'm at right now.
Okay. So I guess the purpose of the presentation is just to share our experiences with you and give you some opportunity to ask questions about the teacher mentorship that we've been doing for the past year and a little bit, year and a half almost now. And a big shout out to Nature United because they are the reason why we've got the funding to do this work. So here's like our questions that we're going to try to get through. Who is Bush Kids? How does the mentorship work? What is Doadaje? What did we do every day in the mentorship? What do the youth say? What do the teachers say? What do the Bush Kids staff say? And then what our next steps are. But we may cut some of that stuff out if we're running out of time, just so that we can respect your time and have a good chunk at the end for questions. So I'll quickly just roll through how the mentorship worked. So the whole intention of the mentorship was to mentor teachers in approaches to land-based learning in the school system. We want to provide leadership opportunities to these youth here who are part of the Doadaje program. We wanted to support teachers to include land-based learning regularly in their pedagogy so that we're just really trying to send out the messaging that it's really our responsibility as educators that land-based pedagogy is a part of our teaching and learning practice now. And we have, it's almost like there's 3 curricula that we're trying to get through with land-based learning. And the foundational curricula here is Dene Kide. We also have components of curriculum. And then the third, looking forward to our. Oh, we should make sure everybody's lines are muted, I guess. Okay, good. Okay. Thanks. And then the third curricula for us is we just adopted the BC curriculum. So just in the past few years. So those are the 3 curriculum, and what we're modeling is let's start with Dene Kide. Let's start with that curriculum first, and then every other part of the curriculum is uncovered that way. That's sort of what we're trying to mentor. So we mentored 9 teachers, and they were divided into pods of 3. And so 3 teachers would spend 1 day a week with us for 6 weeks with a group of students. So the mentorship wasn't just Bush Kids and the teachers. It was 1 class of students and then 3 teachers. I hope that makes sense. And so if you were a teacher and you were in the mentorship, you would have done that with us 2 times in 2 different seasons. But the students would have been different. So we worked with students in kindergarten, grade 4s, grade 5s. Is that right? And grade 4 and grade 7s. Those were the groups. So we worked with 6 different classes. And so all in all, we worked with over 150 students during that time.
Okay, so how did the program that I facilitate in Welladay kind of assist in this? How did we mesh? So the Doadaje program is for middle school Indigenous youth, and we are a leadership and resiliency program. So I have currently in this year, I have 33 boys and girls, and we try and meet every other day depending on the schedule. How I facilitated with Bush Kids was I came out every Wednesday or Friday, whatever day it was, and then I would bring a couple of youth leaders or 1 youth leader with me to assist in camp chores, helping the young kids, just any type of leadership they can do on the land. And last year we had a young boy named Peter. He came out every single Wednesday. And then this year we had different youth coming. So we learned from Bush Kids so much information, and then we were able to take it back to our school. And we're hoping to continue that mentorship with teachers at our school. So the Doadaje is not really a program, it's more of a way of life. And Doadaje itself means a capable person. And so that is the goal, the life goal is to be a capable person on the land, in your community, with your spirit. And so this program has been around for a while, but it's been funded, not funded, and now we're back with funding. So it really gives our Indigenous youth in our school the opportunity to learn cultural and some non-cultural things like leadership and resiliency. But the primary base is to be on the land, immersed in culture using Dene Cadet curriculum.
So what did we do every day? Do you guys want to help me talk about what we did in the day? Like, what did we do at the beginning of the day when it started? Do you remember?
Come around.
Come on, the campfire, the fire.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, we come around, and what would we do at the fire pit?
We would say your names.
We'd say our names
And feed the fire.
and feed the fire. Yeah. And then what would we do?
Do some fun stuff, chocolate.
Do some fun stuff. Yeah.
Chop wood. What else do you remember doing?
Falling in the water. Yeah. There was always a cooking compartment. Like we always came together and ate together. These boys have been part of being in the leadership with Bush Kids, but also I take them out and they have their own kind of Bush Kids. And just learning how to be more capable on the land. And then when they're at Bush Kids, they're able to show the other younger kids how what's safe, what's not safe, right? They are our leaders. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what kind of tools we used? Yeah.
Did you have to do this one? Like the knife? When you were whittling? Oh yeah, we made kindling.
Kindling. Did you help make the bannock sticks? You're
No.
part of that day? Okay. There's a lot of Bush Kids staff there to help with all the things that we do all day. And so we don't expect schools to be able to have the capacity to have that many people, but we want to model how important it is to have that inclusion of community in the program. So not everybody could be here today. There's two other people that we invited that wanted to come, but they couldn't, two other Bush Kids staff. Auntie Edna is an elder that's with us every session. And Taylor Shear is another youth employed staff at Bush Kids who's at every session. And then sometimes we invite other elders and guests from the community as well. So there's a lot of people helping us get through all of these activities in the day. So we just put up a couple of examples of things that we did. Having food from the land is a huge component of the program. It's so important to understand that that sustainability piece and to have an opportunity to work with food right from the start. So we talk a lot about where the food came from, how it was harvested, how to be respectful of the food when you're cleaning it, when you're preparing it. We talk a lot about relationships. So we have a slide there about relationship with self-care. It's so cold here. And so to thrive on the land, you really have to learn how to take care of yourself. So that's a big component of what we do and really try to celebrate when they're taking good care of themselves and staying warm. Fur is a big part of our program. We have a lot of furs. They're out. We use them to keep warm and just really speak to the significance of that Indigenous economy. We're beside a lake, and so we can go ice fishing. So the lake is a really big part of what we do. And the seasons lead what we do. So when you have a big body of water there, everybody understands how significant water is to programming for land-based learning. So we're so lucky to have that lake there. Um, there's a little picture there of some fish scale art. And then we also have a picture there. That is the other side of the lake, sort of from our side of the lake. And so it's really fun to adventure across the lake and then hit up the other side and see what's going on the other side. It's a pretty big trek for some of the kids. So that sort of adventurous piece is a beautiful part of what we do. And we work with all ages, and sometimes the younger kids, they'll get to the top of that hill that you can see in the picture there. There's another hill a little bit closer to where we are. That's all rock. And one child got to the top, a little kindergarten, and said, "Oh, I see my grandma's house." And we said, "Really? What, where does your grandma live? Like, show me which house." She said, "Oh, my grandma lives in Detta." And Detta is like nowhere's near where Bush Kids is. But they get to this top of this hill, and that's how far away they feel, right? It was such a beautiful moment. And we didn't correct them. We just shared the awe of, being able to see grandma's house. So we can have this beautiful sense of adventure where our site is, even though we're really close to town in Yellowknife. Okay, so we wanted to have another opportunity to ask you guys any questions. Can I ask you, like, what was the best part about coming to Bushkids?
Making the fire,
Making the fire, okay,
chopping wood.
and chopping wood. What was the hardest part? Was there anything that was really hard?
No.
No?
Wow, I've prepared you well.
You can be honest. Okay. Did you have a day where you were like, "Oh, today, I just want today to end"? Did you have moments like that where you felt really challenged that way?
Yes.
Yes. What happened? Do you remember what was going on that day?
No.
Oh, but you did have moments like that. So sometimes it's not easy, eh? Yeah. Okay.
Does the winter affect you? Like, no, you don't. We, at least with my program, we're really lucky to have, and Bush Kids has clothes too, but like we can outfit all of our kids with, the warmest gear that we can get our hands on. So staying warm, especially when we have winter for so long, is so important. So they don't have to come with all their own gear. We will definitely make sure that they're warm throughout the winter. Yeah. It's good that
Yeah, so lucky that way.
Mhm.
Having the gear. You all know that, I'm sure.
Jebby, why do you like going on the land?
Connects me to my culture.
Yeah. What about you, Scott? Why do you like going on the land?
So I learn how to stay on the land when I'm older.
Yeah.
Do you think this is really important for you to have all the time while you're a student at school, these opportunities? Why?
Mm, and I really like it. It's really good to be on the land, in fresh air, learn stuff.
Scott? I'll just speak a little bit for Scott. Scott comes to school so that he can like go on the land. Like if I tell him we're doing this, he's like more inclined to come to school. And this is where our program, we had such low attendance years ago. So, this program was started and, our attendance went up, our incident reports got lower, and kids were way more connected to their school community because of the experiences that they were able to do, whether it was on the land or in school. Like we'll do beading workshops and different workshops. So Scott is one of the kids that will come to school more often, correct? We have goals. So, yeah.
And how do you both feel? Because the mentorship started at Bush Kids. This is an important piece, I guess, is we started the mentorships at Bush Kids, which is about a 10-minute drive, not even from here. We're at the Welladay School right now. And then the work that we did I think prompted the development. That's fair to say, right?
Yeah, of course.
Of a cabin, a fire pit, a shed, a whole area right here at the school, so that it's more accessible, these opportunities. So I'm curious how you guys feel about, supporting this type of great opportunities here right at your school. How do you feel about that?
Like when you come out with the
when
little
you come
kid.
out with the little kids here as support here right at your school?
They make me feel good when I help them.
Yeah.
You pass on the things that you learn from them.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
pass on the teachings. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You guys are real leaders here now because
Mhm.
of all this work you've been doing. Yeah.
Good job.
Okay, thanks. Your job is not over. We still need you. Okay, are we on track here?
You're on what do
Okay,
the
what
teachers
do
say?
the teachers say? Do you want to answer? Okay.
Will you?
Oh, do you want me to do that one? Okay, and then I was
Or
going to
I
give you
can.
some
Yeah, you
time.
can. Yeah,
Do you want to do that?
sure.
Okay.
What moments do I remember the most? Well, I think it's just the complete joy that you see from the students being on the land and learning to be capable on the land. There are so many kids that have never been outside when it's 30 below. And so to see them thriving on the land is so great, challenging themselves, filleting fish, doing things that maybe they'll never have an opportunity to do. Yeah, I love the creativity that kids have. Like they created Shayla Town. They get to play. And so much of school is so academic that it is so nice to see grade 7 students playing. Yeah, I love that. Um, my high point is probably gaining the most knowledge from Wendy and the Bush Kids educators. Like I needed to learn a lot coming from I'm non-Indigenous, so I got to learn so many skills. Um, the low point probably is after a full day on the land. You still have to give back to your family. Like I have 2 young children, and so I was always so exhausted at the end of the day. I made sure that dinner was very easy, but that's what I say to people, you're going to be really tired, especially after the first session, and just to give yourself rest because going out on the land every single day is a lot. So doing it twice a week or 3 times a week for me is best.
You don't have to answer all.
Okay. I'm really proud of our school because they seen this mentorship with Bush Kids, and we actually now have a JK on the land program for one JK class, and they're getting out 3 times a week in this cabin and this kind of area, this outdoor classroom that we have. And so that was a very aha moment for me because I've been teaching for 15 years and getting out on the land with my kids, and people always thought I was like crazy to do this. But now to see that more teachers want to get out there and they want to be doing this, and they're like, how do we do this? How do we do this? And to see the mentorships continuing on is just wonderful. Like we have over 20 students enrolled in the JK land-based classroom and have a really wonderful teacher who's very passionate about it. So we're hoping that that expands maybe to 2 classrooms next year. So the work we're doing is important. Yeah.
And then we just wanted to share some quotes from the other teachers, the other 9 teachers that were a part of the mentorship. So we have one quote here talking about the students. They led their own Feed the Fire ceremony and did so well. It changed. It got quieter and quieter, and we need to allow them to have that space. So one of the Bush Kids staff who used to work with us, Michelle Kruko, she was so passionate about teaching the children how to lead their own ceremony in a respectful way and to support them in how to do that really authentically from their heart. And we've been really trying to do that with all the groups that we work with. The second quote there's this is what a student said after helping to do the dishes in the bush. I do the dishes at home now, and I even cut the vegetables. She was so excited. And Auntie Edna, the elder that works with us, she does a lot of cooking. And so they just became very close. And she kept telling Auntie Edna how much she loves doing the dishes at home now. The teacher said, I see a big change in her confidence in the classroom too. Um, the leadership process at Town, they had a mayor, the council, guests, and guards. So there was this whole development of a town that happened, and it was just this beautiful, creative inquiry that the kids just continued and added to and had all these layers to. And, they started their own governance process. So it was really interesting to be speaking about governance in that way and following their lead, like what is the role of a mayor? Who could be a mayor? What's the gender of your mayor? There's lots of really beautiful conversations that we had inside of that. Letting the land teach us. I loved it. That's our main principle at Bushkids, let the land lead learning. And then the last quote, leadership opportunities for the kids. Fire keepers, teaching the next group. And that's exactly what you two said, how important it is that you get the opportunity to teach other kids how to do things in the kitchen safely. The kids actually wanting to try things and come out of their comfort zone. So we just really support them in managing risk. There's lots of risk that comes with being on the land, and the kids have to learn how to manage that themselves. You go. So what did the Bush Kids staff say? I'm going to pass it over to Chong.
So I, what do we have?
Those are just prompts. Like you don't have to follow that.
Well, I find that it's very, like, it's really important for kids to get out. It's beneficial because most of our memories come from the land. And whenever I have a tough time, or, even children or anyone, it could be teachers and whatnot, when we're dealing with things at home, when we get out on the land, it kind of feels like everything erases, like nothing else matters. This is a time for play. This is a time for exploring. It's time for connecting. There's people, there's like building relationships. There are a lot of things that come from the land, which is it's learning. And we kind of just let the land do the learning for us. So like we let the land lead the learning. That's what I'm trying to say. And how that works is us going out and adapting. Betsy talked about how, it's hard to go out on the land all the time, and it is. It's very hard to go out. I go out from Monday to Friday for work, and sometimes it could be a lot. It's because I'm not doing it enough, or I haven't been doing it enough. In my community, we go out quite frequently, and I feel like a part of me just didn't do it enough. Sorry, that's my vehicle. Oh, I gotta do that. I feel like the high point for me is watching the kids adapt. I love when the kids get really creative, and when play becomes so exciting. I feel like sometimes there is this one kid, and I keep thinking about this one kid, but we were sliding, and this kid could not, like, they were struggling to get the sleigh to go up the hill, and they were crying and they wanted help. And I was like talking to this child, and I was like, yeah, do you need help? And he was just like, yeah, and like crying. And so I was walking down towards him because I was like, yeah, like because you asked for help, I'll come. And then as I was going down, I slipped. And this kid was like bawling his eyes out and he stopped me. He's like, are you okay? And like I think for me in that moment, it's where kids are able to adapt to the environment. You know, it's really tough to be out on the land, because now everything's modified. It's so easy to quickly have access to a tap water now. And we just put it on and we haul our water out, and it comes with the extra, like we need to bring our food, or it comes with a lot of teaching. So that's what I really appreciate. And that moment with that kid, I was like, how resilient he was to be like crying and in his emotions, but he was able to recognize his surroundings. And me falling and him seeing that, I felt like he was able to be like, I'm upset, but also are they okay around me?
Yeah.
So it's like taking care of one another, and we really try to instill that because when we're on the land, we're on the land together. I just really think, and I not really think, I know that the land makes us resilient. The land doesn't care about your color. It doesn't care about who you are. It doesn't care about any of that. None of that matters. What matters is that you have a connection to the land, and your background doesn't define the relationship and connection that you have to the land. The land is a beautiful place to heal. It's a place where you can be resilient and you grow a lot. There's a lot of learning that comes from the land. Even myself today, I find that I'm still learning. I think it's really important for kids. I know it's really important. I feel like every school should have this opportunity. An opportunity to go outside. Because outside creates a space of doing new things. I'm sure you boys had to do new things out on the land, and did it feel good? Did it feel powerful? Like you're good at chopping wood? Like how did it feel when you were chopping wood and it was you thought, I can't do this? Did you do it? You did, right?
Or filleting the fish, Jebby. What did you say to Cha when you were filleting the fish? Was that your first fish you filleted? Yeah. Just being able to have the experience of filleting fish or going fishing and
Something so simple. Those are simple things that the land can give, and we build a not like there's knowledge behind it. These boys will remember what they've done out on the land. Even if you're a little shy right now and you're sitting here and we're just talking, I'm sure you guys have lots of memories about being out on the land, right? Look, you're smiling. I know you have memories, and those memories stay. No matter wherever you are, you grow older and older, the memories you get to look back on are going to be about the land. And that's why I think it's so important that we get our kids out on the land, and even adults.
yeah.
Do
you want something too?
I don't know. Should I
Great. No, that's great. That's great. There'll be more. We have time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're on the last slide, and our next steps will, I feel like we've shared that one next step is supporting the JK land-based program. This is in its first year. And then the other beautiful thing that came from this, the school board replicated this mentorship at their other school. So we're in the beginning of mentorships at doing the same thing with groups of teachers at another school. So this will be, I mean, we've been doing this with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th school isn't as strong. We don't see them as much, but there are 5 schools engaged in this with us right now. But Welladay School and St. Joe's, the other school from this school board, yeah, is definitely the most engaged so far. So that's a really awesome opportunity. Do you want to add anything to the next steps before we do questions?
No, I think the JK land based and like, you know, I don't know if you guys know, but Jordan's principal, that's how I'm funded. So we may or may not have the Doadaje program next year, but I do feel like our district is still very much, they really see the benefits of it. So we're really hoping that it continues on and this land-based learning doesn't end. All right. Any questions?
We were not looking at the chat.
Oh, I can try. I can try.
Sorry about that. I kind of forgot, but if
It's
there's a
okay. I was keeping an eye on the chat. It's all good. If people have
Okay.
questions, they're holding to share them. There's no questions that popped in the chat. Just lots of praise and hearts floating around for all the comments and sharing that the staff and youth shared. So, um,
Stop share. We could stop the share.
Yeah.
And I think then we'll see.
Yay.
awesome. Well, round of applause first for sharing to the staff and youth there. That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Um, let's open it up for questions. I've got questions, but I'll let the folks that are on the call take the lead if anyone wanted to start us off. All right, we got a question in the chat from Whitney. Did you encounter any challenges in any stage, I'm assuming, and what would you change to overcome them?
I would say one of the challenges as an educator is the parents. Parents are
Oh, yeah.
scared to send their kids out when it's really cold and they were definitely scared. And so we definitely are grateful to have the gear and checking in with kids, making sure that their feet are warm. Like there's always multiple sources of heat. Um, so, and we definitely had students, parents who didn't send them to school. We tried, we worked together to make sure that parents understood that they'll be warm. That we're moving around, but we had to get parents on board to take that risk with us. Yeah.
And we invited the parents. That was one way to try and overcome it. So we would invite the parents for a feast and try to, have them do some of the activities. So we would ask the kids to decide, what activities could we be doing with your parents? What do you want to highlight and show them? Um, and we would feed them and have warm spaces for them because the parents show up unprepared for cold weather too. They're coming in from flying in to the site and then going back to work. So I think that was helpful.
How do you deal with allergies? We have a student with a fish allergy.
Oh, yeah.
We did too. We had a kindergarten kid, so we chose not to have any fish or fish products. We just transitioned to like meat and yeah. We also have the fish allergy. We just wouldn't have
We just
fish.
don't have fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we all will we'll ask more questions about their allergy and like what kind of allergy, like if it's a fish allergy, is it airborne?
Mhm.
Is it just eating? Like those are the type of things that we'll be asking to get to know the child with an allergy.
Can I go back to the question about the challenges? Another challenge that we tried to work through is, and every teacher is different. So we try to meet every teacher where they're at. And so some teachers have a lot of experience with this type of work, and some didn't have as much. And so trusting that the land will uncover curriculum, we sort of use that terminology instead of saying cover curriculum. So at the beginning of a day, our plan you know, is guided. We use responsive planning. That's what we call it. Some people call it backwards planning, but it's like, what's backwards about it? It's being responsive. So noticing what the kids were interested in during a session. And so It's trying to get the teachers on board with that process of responsive planning and being a part of the planning process. So after every session, we would meet with them for 45 minutes and talk about what did we notice in that session? What did we hear the kids saying? What were their questions? How can that guide what we do next time? And so I think that's a bit of a challenge is the amount of time that we were asking of teachers to engage in the planning and the responsive planning process, and trying to have a good balance there and not overwhelm them, but also not having us do everything, because we want the teachers to have this skill set. So the second mentorship that we do is more about them doing as much planning as possible and us supporting the process. Why are you laughing?
Because I was like, that is a challenge, I think.
It is a
Yeah.
challenge.
Is stepping back and
Yeah.
not doing everything.
Yeah.
I think.
I think the teachers like that you guys are like planning it, but yeah, having that handover where it's like, okay, you're going to plan it, but we are here to support you.
Yeah.
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 That's my own, like, I find that that's challenging, is stepping back and letting them figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, as adults, it's different for me. I don't know why, but for kids, it's interesting because I've learned to have patience where, when before I started, I used to help cut the shapes out because kids wanted the shape, but, letting the kids cut the shape out, then this is just an example. So letting them do it themselves, because then they're learning. And it's different for adults because, I had an expectation where I thought that they can do it. And then stepping back to watch them do it. And it's like, oh, they're either forgetting this or they're not thinking of that. But I'm like, don't get involved. Like, let them, they have to figure it out. Because if I'm always telling them, then sometimes people don't always
Yeah.
think about those things. And then when they're not thinking about them, then they're relying on other people to do it. So that sometimes I find that
Yeah.
that's challenging.
Well, and every teacher comes with their own skill set. So
Yeah.
one thing I learned was like, depending on where you grew up or what your family dynamic was like you might have a lot of land-based skills, but you also might not.
Mhm.
And we can't expect that everybody has land-based skills. So
That's right.
yeah.
Even me, I find that I challenge myself by not, like, when I go out and do it, I'm noticing, I'm like, oh, I forgot this. So it's always, that's a challenge itself, is just figuring it out, and everybody is at their own pace and
comfort level too.
yeah, and it's just, if you have an expectation, like, you're just setting yourself up for failure. So it's
Yeah.
learning with the
Yeah.
process and doing it together. We have a lot of
Yeah,
questions.
you have a lot of questions rolling in here, and I actually appreciate your last few answers because you're talking about everybody getting involved, not just the students. And I think that that's an answer to a lot of questions. The next question in order was, how do you compile observations and connections to curriculum to justify learning to admin, parents, others? That's a big question. But yeah.
So learning stories? Do you want to?
Yep.
Yeah. We do a lot of observations while we have whatever throughout the day. What we're doing is we're listening to the kids and we're writing these observations in our like notebooks, because we have these little cute ones. Sorry, I call them cute. And we take them everywhere. So we write what they're learning and the quotes that they say, and um what our focus on throughout the day, if whether it's fish or caribou, will kind of show parents, like, we'll write these learning stories, and in the learning stories we're writing about what the topic was and what the kids are learning, and we send that to parents.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you should talk about the risk, when we're talking about parents and making them feel comfortable. We're also talking about
safety rules.
That's another
Yeah.
question. Yeah. Well,
I don't know if I can just like add a second part to my question if you don't mind. I was just wondering, like, yes, notebooks and all of that, and that's what we use as well, like nature journal, compilings, all that stuff. But what's your process in terms of like doing the report cards, right? Like including whatever's happening. Like I do believe in emergent curriculum and like all of that learning stories. We do use them, but I find it hard when I'm mentoring a teacher trying to lead them through like using a tool to compile the because we still work within like, a school system that we need to justify those learnings, those competencies. So what do you guys use like in terms of
The
that?
kids write their own learning stories, and that's a huge part of assessment. And some of the teachers have their own approaches to how they do that. It could be like a photo voice, photo story, or the three main questions we use is what happened, why is it important, what does it mean for next time?
Mhm.
Uh, so depending on their literacy levels, they use learning stories and say they do their best writing after Bush Kids. Um,
I
so
do
they
believe that.
I take a lot of pictures and use that for assessments, and they're always, I notice the teachers are also always documenting throughout the day, and that gives them a lot of the observational, like assessments that they can add to report cards that way. The other piece we do is we have a document that makes connections between, and some teachers ask for this, some teachers don't. But it makes connections. We grab curricula objectives that we saw surface in the day from all of those curricula that we mentioned.
Mhm.
So primarily focus on Dene Kide and the BC curriculum. And if a teacher really wants to heavily focus on science during the mentorships, then that's the curricula that we are helping them see surface while they're at Bush Kids. And then our invitations to play that we offer can also be guided by that curriculum if they're trying to figure out ways to do that on the land.
Amazing. Must show.
I don't know if that's helpful. Yeah.
I might
Absolutely.
just I might just add one other thing too, if you don't mind, is that oftentimes I think the Western education system puts products over process. And so like we're so reliant on like what's that end test? What's that essay about? And I don't know that we're at the stage of escaping that entirely in public school systems. But a conversation I've come across many times is a land-based environment the place you want to learn how to write an essay? And I think most of us on this call are probably going to say no. But that doesn't mean that land-based experience can't be that energizing catalyst that would inform things that happen before or after the classroom experience or the land-based experience in the classroom. And so an example may be like the storytelling that often happens in winter, very much a land-based practice. What pre-learning can students be built up to and supported in terms of being able to engage in that storytelling, active listening, sharing themselves, and then how can that post-learning experience reflect all that learning that happens on the land while still addressing some of the ELA curriculum outcomes that teachers have to cover, right? And so it's about getting creative, but I put it in the chat. I really love what you said about uncovering the curriculum in the presentation because I feel like curriculum is always front of mind, but the curriculum just comes naturally when you're out in the land. It's hard to miss once you like sit back and look at it and looking at it very much in a global sense. Like just here's what we're doing, just how much real world learning is involved in that as well. But no, that was a great question. I think something a lot of people come up or come confront in their practice. We had a question here. You kind of addressed the safety and rules about it. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add about, how you address liabilities, permission forms, working, like taking consideration of those safety and risks out in the land.
Yeah, I mean, we follow that. There was a great document created about 4 years ago, I think. It was a national document. I don't know if you're all familiar with it. Of course, I forget the name of it, but it's yeah, it's like how to support risk in outdoor play for the education system, basically. And so it offers great sample documents on how to write your informed consent. So we have informed consents. And then we have like media releases. So those are the two forms that we ask people to sign. And then we follow, it's called an activity risk benefit assessment. And so we do one of those for all of these things that have risk involved. So that would be climbing, that would be using tools, that would be going on a frozen lake. That would be, being outdoors in cold weather. And so it walks you through and it's really accessible. It just has like 5 questions on it. Maybe someone can throw it in the chat for us. And if not, then it's also on our website, like on our resources page. I feel bad, I can't remember the name of it, but it has sort of an outline of how to do those activity risk benefit assessments. And then we write them for ourselves in our site, and then we share them with all the schools and say, use them, like rewrite them so it matches your school setting. Like why reinvent the wheel? Um, and then the second assessment they have in there is a description of what's a dynamic risk assessment and how does that look for your team. So we do training around that with staff. It's just like, okay, in the moment, you're assessing risk all the time. And then we do site risk assessments. We do that seasonally. So what are the risks at our site in the summer? What are they in the winter, in the fall, that kind of thing. Um, yeah, that's how we manage that. We have two main, like it with our feet on the ground, like we have two main rules, like always be able to see and hear an educator. So that will change depending on how windy it is and what the weather is like. Sometimes we have to stick closer together. And then if we do a big usually we do a wolf howl, or sometimes the programs come up with their own noises, but we do a big animal noise, and that means come to that noise. And that means we have something important to tell you or something to show you, or that there's an animal on site and we have to get together and just make sure that we're approaching what we do together in a safe way.
Incorporated.
The next question you have, I'm just looking at the time here. Want to make sure we're respecting people's time. Do you also incorporate Indigenous language while you're on the land? And how do you do it? Like, what are some strategies that you use?
Do you want to talk about the
Yeah.
language courses we're doing?
So we're taking a Clean language class at Bushkids, and so we're learning Clean, and we will incorporate that by what we're doing throughout the day. So if we're focusing on seasons, and we'll talk about seasons, we are learning our intros. We learned our intros, and we just we incorporate it in that way. The animals, when we talk about the animals, we'll talk about it in Clean, and I think that's all I can think about right now.
Yeah, I think we're definitely learning how to do that. We have a far way to go. There's different languages of this land too, and so acknowledging that is really important.
Through storytelling as well.
Yeah.
So where I'm from, I'm Dennis Sothina, and I'm from Flutzelke. So when I talk about Hacho, I will bring up who Hacho is. So it comes organically in storytelling or lessons and what our focuses are on, and that's how we incorporate it.
Well, and like our school, we have Welodayati. That's the language that some of our students are learning. And so if the kids know language in Welodayati, they bring it or will bring it as educators. And so there's like a mixture, I find, of the languages, but there's a lot of language being spoke on the land.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Beautiful.
I have a question.
I don't know who spoke there. I'm just going to do this last
Michelle.
question. Waiting in the Michelle, I'll come to you just after this last question, and we'll do you follow up after this one. So from Heather, how do you imagine future teachers being prepared to engage with land-based learning meaningfully? What changes to teacher education training curriculum would you recommend? It's a big question. Lots of growth in our teacher training programs needed for sure. Take it on there, Bush kids.
Oh, it's like the teachers want to do it, and I get that they're eager to do it, but I've said this to our admin numerous times, like there is so much to learn. I used to be a teacher that would just go out and do it all on my own, and I had to unlearn a lot of the things that I was doing because I needed a Wendy, I needed Cha, I needed people to really teach me certain things about where we are on this land, and yeah, I'm hopeful that through mentorship, like what Bush Kids is doing, there's going to be a lot more teachers that are going to be comfortable and they understand the process of getting out on the land and the importance of planning, the importance of safety, culture, language. Um, yeah, we're hopeful.
Yeah, I think one of the main principles of Bush Kids, we have two main principles, and we've talked a lot about having land lead learning. And the second principle is working in an ethical space. And um, we don't have a lot of time to even get into that principle, I think, right now. But really, I think the heart of that is acknowledging that a lot of educators here where we live, a lot of educators are non-Indigenous. And so understanding how the Western system that is here in the school systems right now, they're from another land and they've been brought here when the colonizers came, and the colonizers came and stayed with these systems. And so uplifting land-based learning is so significant and so important because the education system is not balanced, and Indigenous peoples from this land are not seeing themselves enough in their culture and their languages and their worldviews. Are not seeing themselves enough in the system. And so what needs to change in education training is making sure that educators are on board with that and understand why it's so significant and important to uplift those knowledges and worldviews. I think the why is really important. So we always start there. We always do a bit of a workshop with the educators that we work with, and that's one of the most important pieces that we start with is the why and how and the significance of working in an ethical space.
Um, we're over the hour. I will say that if there are other questions, I'm gonna plan a last call out right now. But if there are other questions, otherwise, this call will be recorded and it'll be posted or shared out with those on the call and through our network. But please take a look at the message I put in the chat as well, about where you can find more information about the work we're doing and trying to kind of move this work forward and make those connections for shared learning and collaboration. We're always on that learning journey, so appreciate all the sharing and thoughts and questions today. I'm not seeing any other hands pop up or questions pop into the chat. So with that, I'm gonna bid everybody adieu and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Masi.
Masi, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Masi, Masi, ciao.